الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ويسألونك ماذا ينفقون
ويسألونك ماذا ينفقون
قل العفو.
قل العفو.
So what? You translate. And يسألون, they ask you. They ask you. Meaning, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They ask you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Mada, what? ينفقون. ينفقون. Remember the word infaq. أنفق ينفق إنفاقا. ينفقون. Spend. What should they spend? So they're asking, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ينفقون. What should they spend? قل العفو. قل. What does قل mean? Say. العفو. What is it? Al-afwa, and it's surplus, extra, excess. Very good, mashallah. So they ask you, what should they spend? Say, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whatever is surplus, whatever is excess. Al-af. I mean, to translate it as surplus is useful because sometimes you would think if it is excess, which means whatever is my need, everything else should be given out. And there could be the issue, which is that you have responsibilities and rights of others as well. So if you do not fulfill that, then you're causing trouble. You're violating their right. So whatever is surplus, in a sense that whatever your responsibilities and needs are, you do fulfill that. And then whatever is left, try spend in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the expectation. But it is not fard or wajib. Fard is zakat, sadqatul fitr, stuff like that. But this is highly recommended. And ideally, we should try and spend as much as possible because whatever you spend here in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that would be stored for you in the life hereafter. Whatever you have had eaten, using the clothing, supported, whatever needs you had, that is gone. This is why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he came home to Sayyidah Aisha radhiyallahu ta'ala anha and said, "Oh Aisha, what do we have to eat?" So there was a goat gifted to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he knew, obviously. So Sayyidah Aisha radhiyallahu ta'ala anha, she said, "Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, everything is being given. We have got nothing left except for a shoulder piece. All the rest I have spent in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." So now the lady is trained, obviously, by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So she said, everything is gone. We just have this. He said, no, Aisha, everything is with us in our store. That is going to go because we will eat it and it would not be stored. So what you have kept is the bit that is going. All the rest that you have donated is ours in our store. So this is the idea. That is why once you know it, you would find how people could be that generous for this reason. They're generous, but they're clever. They know what they're doing. And I give you a small example of that, just a story. If you knew about what is coming, you would just be happy the way you are. You protect everything for that. You save everything for that. So there's a story about this society where people used to live in a small village or whatever. Every year, they would get the king toppled over in a sense that he would have to be dragged out of the city into jungle. But for 1 year, he can do whatever. He's full king, do whatever. So they would enjoy and come in. After a few years, after 10, 15 years, they realized, you know what? There's no point doing it. So everyone started coming back, stepping back, saying that I don't want to be king. So they would have to literally force people to be king for a year. So then once there was this stranger, he was walking past and he entered this village and then he was talking to people and they said, "Oh, do you want to be king by any chance?" I said, "King? Yeah, I would just want you to be ruler." But I said, "Why you want me to be your ruler when you have your own people?" No, but it's just that we would like to have some novelty, new ideas. Is it? So just if you become, because you look very sensible, intelligent, or whatever, they just try to seduce him. And he said, "Okay, what is the condition?" He said, "Oh, just be for a year. And after that, oh, we normally, well, the condition is that we will throw you in the jungle. If animals eat you, fine. If you survive and come back, that's your choice." Well, no one has come back so far. I said, "Okay." I said, "But when I'm king, what do I do?" I said, "But you have free choice, free ground, do whatever you like." And he said, "How far is that jungle?" "It's quite far." He thought about that and he said, "Okay, I accept." And he accepted it. He accepted this condition and became king. But people realized that unlike all the previous ones, he would live as simple life as possible. He would just command things, but no luxury, living in the same way, rather just simple as you could, expect a beggar, really. So they obviously were curious, but they didn't ask the king. Is king. It's like God. You don't question them in those days. As soon as the date came for the departure, they saw him dressing up in the best clothes, taking shower, and ready, unlike all the previous ones where they were dragged into it. And here he is ready. He said, "Oh, let's go." So, "Well, we came with all our equipment to drag you into things or whatever. We've got big men." No. I'm walking on my own. I'm going on my own. You don't need to worry about goodbye. And he started going. And they all followed on the government officials. They said, "You know what? Let's just find out what is happening here." And they kept following him. And they realized as they entered, there was a lot of brightness there. There was a huge palace sitting where he was supposed to be living forever. And as he entered, he said, "Goodbye," meaning that I've already whole year got everything siphoned there from the wealth that normal king would have used on them there. I've got a building here now, a big palace with everything there. You can go. I'm okay. And they realized, oh, we made up a story of whatever it is. A very clear idea. This is your life hereafter. They see people enjoying this material world with whatever luxuries they have. They only realized then. And they were so, "My goodness, he was so clever. He never, had a penny." I mean, what sort of man is that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him so much and he has spent everything in the path of Allah. Usman radiallahu ta'ala anhu, my goodness, he's dying in a situation, being martyred while fasting and in his own house. And you know what? He did not have, he, Usman radiallahu ta'ala anhu, didn't have more than 2 horses left, where he has donated in thousands. He was so rich. Abu Bakr Siddiq emptied his house, had nothing left behind. When he died, he actually gave back everything he took from Baytul Mal as Amir, as a Khalifa for 2.5 years. Umar radiallahu anhu said, when he became Khalifa, he said, "Oh, Abu Bakr," looking at Abu Bakr, saying, "You have set a very difficult example for your successors. How could we do that, what you have done?" This is why you would find Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam being offered all these mountain, Uhud mountain, could be turned into gold for you. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "I would rather be hungry one day, not even having food every day, hungry one day and be patient. And next day I have food and I'll be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha said, there has been no 3 days in a row that we had something to eat. 9 wives of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, none of them had anything to eat for consecutive 3 days that is cooked. So how would it thrive? She said, "Aswadain," 2 black things, water and dates. Water is cold black, Not because it's black, because when you see down the well, those days, it looks black. Like the darkness there. She says, Radhiyallahu ta'ala anha, that we would see 3 moons and none of the houses of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There was time for 3 moons. This moon, that said, were 2 months in between. So we didn't have anything that could make you feel that you're fully done. You will have some, but not fully done. Never felt satiated. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would come for morning breakfast. They used to, we call it ghadat in them. That is, after Fajr, you go out and you do your whatever normal errands, that stuff that you have to do. You come home around 11ish, 10:30, 11ish, because from Fajr to 10:30, 11ish, you do whatever. And that is the first meal of the day. You would come home and find out who Aisha or Salama, whichever is the wife that he's going to on that day. He says, do we have something to eat? They would say, today we have got this few dates and water. So, I'm fasting then. We have got nothing, I'm fasting then. Voluntary fast before the Dhuhr. This is our beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why? Because not because they're not interested in dunya. Obviously, they were not. They're sensible people. Because they were preparing everything for there. Everyone on the day of judgment would, feel completely, upset about the fact that why did we not realize that? Why did we not understand? We knew it. We're only going for a short while. Why we wasted our life in this material world? I wish I had all the trouble in this world and nothing here. Or even if I'm in bliss, even then, this is why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the people in Jannah would have only one regret. The regret of wasting time where they have not remembered Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And here, we waste days, weeks, months, perhaps years, Allah knows. So, Allah kullah. كذلك يبين الله لكم الآيات لعلكم تتفكرون في الدنيا والآخرة.
كذلك يبين الله لكم الآيات لعلكم تتفكرون في الدنيا والآخرة.
كذلك, meaning like, thus, like, so, in this way, in this style, like this. يبين, يبين means to do bayan, to clarify it, to make something. Bayan means something manifest, clear. Bayan actually means to wadih, to make something wadih, clear. So, like this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who does the bayan, who does the clarification, who does make things very clear, is Allah, the fa'il, the doer comes afterwards. So after verb comes normally the doer. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes things clear for who? Lakum, for you. Allah makes things, you, O people, the listener, means the Sahaba then, and obviously us. What do Allah make very clear? Al-ayat, signs, means is Allah's ayat, verses of Quran. لعلكم, perchance, perhaps, maybe. Obviously, for Allah, it is not maybe in that sense that He doesn't know, or it's not doubtful now. It is maybe because up to you. You would show what you want to do. I know it, but you need to show how you would do. So that would help you become better. تتفكرون, that you ponder. Tafakkur, perhaps you may ponder. Things become that clear to you, as I just expressed whatever I could express on those 2 words, al-af, al-af, one word. Maybe you can ponder over that more and think about that. تتفكرون في الدنيا والآخرة, in this world and the life hereafter. Just about these two, everywhere. You should be careful about thinking and pondering over the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ويسألونك عن اليتامى
ويسألونك عن اليتامى
قل إصلاح لهم خير
قل إصلاح لهم خير.
And يسألون, they ask. يسألون, they ask. Ka, you. बोलो जोर से बोलो. عن, about. اليتامى, plural of yatim. orphans. They ask you about orphans. Qul, say. Islahun, islah, correction, helping, having the, yeah, islah actually means to make something sulh, make something better from whatever state they were in. So helping them out in that sense. Islah, correction, helping them out, having good wish for them, being their well-wisher. Lahum, for them. Islahun, lahum, helping them out, supporting them out, whatever. Lahum, for them is khayr, is good, is the best actually. Okay, khayr actually is the best. Khayr literally means it should be akhyar, the best. But and likewise, ashrar becomes ashar, and then hamza is dropped for both of those. Why? Because these are commonly used word a lot. So to make it easy, khayr, as opposed to akhyar. Okay, but this is akhyar, transformed into khayr. Qul islahu lahum khayr. Improvement for them is the best. Whatever you could do to help them improve their situation, the orphans, this is the best. I mean, you could do a lot with that. What happened generally, people used to have no concern for orphans. Father died. Remember the society we're talking about, Arab and pre-Islam, and around that time, who would look after them? It's a clan system, it's a men-dominating society. For some good there, but a lot of bad on top of that. People do get corrupt when they have power. And if they do not have piety, connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you can just violate whoever you can. They would violate women, they could violate the children, the slaves, whoever can get control of someone else, they would just. This is the problem with power, because this is built-in nature of men to show their arrogance, their superiority. That's nature. That is why this is the last disease of the spiritual heart. If you're on this journey of spiritual rectification, that goes away from us. It takes the longest, the kibr. And this is what caused shaitan to be thrown out, despite all his worship and everything, his ilm, his knowledge, everything. Why? Because so people then used to have no concern. Poor, orphan, they're sitting there doing whatever they're doing. No one is bothered about them, because who's going to challenge you? Who's going to ask you? So orphans were mistreated in that sense. They were not very careful. And when this warning was given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Quran and in Hadith, likewise, which is anyone who takes anything from the orphans, he has been filling his belly with the hellfire. So you can't take it. So Sahaba got very shocked, and they completely, obviously they always wanted to do the best. They said, we don't want to do it. We don't want to do. Then what would happen? A person dies, leaving behind 1 or 2 children, 5 children, however many, but they're, pre-pubertal young ones. Sometimes both parents gone, sometimes one gone. So what they would do as guardian, they're responsible for that. They would keep their money separate to the point that they themselves are poor. So like average people, so they would have their own food cooked separately and their small kids' food separately. That's extra work. And on top of that, extra wastage, because most of these kids would not be able to complete or finish, and you'd never know how much they want today. They want some, and they would just there's no fridge there, by the way, in case you don't understand why it's getting rotten. Food would get wasted. So it was happening a lot. And Sahaba wouldn't touch it because no, I don't want to, because so this was hardship for them as well, seeing the food being wasted. And when they themselves are on this date or bit of bread and there's biryani being wasted, not biryani, I'm just talking the counterpart of that, because they were left with good money by the parents and you can't touch it. You're only using it for them as a caretaker. So they are using it, and your children are a little bit underprivileged, no problem. So what was happening? So you are doing this, plus there's wastage going on there. Not because the children are doing it, but who knows how much to cook it, So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, no, we didn't mean it that way. You didn't understand it correctly. You can work together. Your intention should be that I don't want to cause any harm to the children. the orphans. I do not want to waste and take anything unnecessarily out of the. But as a brother, you will live together, have one food, one meal together, and inshallah enjoy it. As if you may take some from them and whatever is needed and whatever you think is appropriate. And likewise, you do give whenever there's a need. Like work together. Like everyone does the same thing. You go to your brother's house and he comes to your house. You support him when he's here. You support him when you go there. We just do very easily. Now, when you're affluent, not a big deal. When there's a poverty going on, needs going on, then everyone says, oh, they've come 3 times. Our turn to go 3 times because we don't want them to come again. It's a lot of money because they were like this, poor people. So storing their own stuff and often separately. So Allah, sometimes it's just wasted, decompose. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helped them out, saying, no, don't compromise the welfare of the children. Keep the intention clear. Their welfare should be at top of your priority. And then there's nothing wrong. That is why Allah says, وَإِن تُخَالِطُوهُمْ فَإِخْوَانُكُمْ وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ الْمُفْسِدَ مِنَ الْمُصْلِحِ وَإِن say it in if تخالط خالط يخالط مخالطة اختلاط خلط ملط. You heard all of those words. Some of them mean mix. خلط ملط. اختلاط नहीं होना चाहिए. कहते हैं ना मखलूत मजलिस. मखलूत नहीं सुना कभी. मुखल्लत. Everyone knows the umrah. You get मुखल्लत. All the perfume together. So خلط ملط. Confuse, mix. Okay. تخالط from the kha, lam, ta. So when tukhalitu, if you mix them mix them mean merge together, your meal, their meal, food together, and everything together, share it with each other, contribute one dish part. فإخوانكم. So then إخوان खान से खाने से नहीं है, वो फारसी का है. إخوان أخي. إنما المؤمنون إخوان brother. إخوان المسلمون. The Islamic Brotherhood, that organization in some Arab worlds. إخوان brothers. إنما المؤمنون إخوة. Muslims are brother to each other. Yeah, إخوان, إخوة, both are the plural of أخ. أخي, my brother. يا أخي. إخوان. إخوانكم, your. So they are your brother. They're brother in Islam. Wallahu, and Allah knows. Remember that Allah knows, so warning there. Wallahu, and Allah ya'lamu. Allah knows. Al-mufsida. Mufsid? Mufsid is the one who does fasad. What is fasad? Corruption. So Allah knows the one who is mufsid, mean the corrupt. Min from al-muslih. Muslih is the one who does islah. Islah means doing the correction. Islah nafs. Yeah. The one who is doing the right thing and the one from the wrong thing. So the amender and corrupter, I don't know. I just made it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows whether you're corrupter. Allah knows corrupter from the amender. The one who mends. Okay. وَلَوْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ لَأَعْنَتَكُمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَزِيزٌ حَكِيمٌ. وَلَوْ, and if Allah wanted, شَاءَ اللَّهُ, Allah, if Allah willed, if Allah wanted. Lam here is when you have a shart, this is called shart, conditional sentence. If Allah will, la, so that lam comes to emphasize as a response to the condition. La a'natakum. A'nat is difficult. A'na means to make something burdensome. So then it will become better, like more difficult for you. So la a'natakum, Allah could have made it a difficult situation for you. Okay, Allah could have put you in difficulty, in hardship. Why? Doing what? Keep it separate. That's fine. Carry on. Don't touch it. Don't even look at that. Allah could have done this. That's it. Indeed, Allah, indeed, inna Allah, indeed, Allah is Aziz. Aziz is powerful. Allah is in control of everything. Is Zabardast is the word. Zabardast in Urdu, obviously in Persian. Upper hand. Allah has got power to do so. He could have commanded that. Hakim, Allah is wise as well. So with wisdom, He wouldn't do it. So if Allah willed, Allah had willed, He could have put you in difficulty. Indeed, Allah is exalted in might and is wise. وَلَا تَنكِحُوا الْمُشْرِكَاتِ حَتَّى يُؤْمِنْ
ولا تنكحوا المشركات حتى
يؤمن
يؤمن
ولا and so wa and la do not تنكحوا نكح ينكح means nikah, exactly. So do not do nikah, do not marry al-mushrikati. Who are mushrikat? Mushrik ladies, mushrik women, idolater, those who associate partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do not marry those ladies hatta, we use that in Urdu as well, until yu'min, they become Muslim, they have iman, until they believe. Very good. So do not marry polytheistic women until they believe. وَلَأَمَةٌ مُؤْمِنَةٌ خَيْرٌ مِّن مُشْرِكَةٍ. Mu'minat is plural. Mu'mina is singular. So remember that. وَلَأَمَةٌ مُؤْمِنَةٌ خَيْرٌ مِّن مُشْرِكَةٍ. मुमिनातुन नहीं है भाई, मुमिनतुन सिंगुलर. वलअमतुम मुमिनतुन खैरुम मिन मुशरिका. मुमिन मुमिना singular, Muslim muslima. If you say muslimat, then that becomes feminine, plural. Mu'mina, feminine, singular. وَلَوْ أَعْجَبَتْكُمْ. So what and la. This lam is lam ta'kid. Okay? Emphasis, the one that came before. There's emphasis. Li is for. Okay? Sometimes they due to, so you might ask lakum. Why is that lakum? It is actually likum. But to say likum is very difficult. Liku. So Arabs are very particular about the ease of saying things. So they would make things easy for whatever reason. So that lam is actually li, for you. This one is not you. This is la. That is just made. It's like alaykum. And then alayhim. It should be alayhum. And there's a, one of the ways of recitation, alayhum. And they find it easy. Why some don't, that's up to them. It's a different tribe. This is their language. They do the way they want to do it. It's not dependent on you and me. That's their language. It's like your language. You say Chiswick or Chiswick. Your choice. You do whatever. You don't say Leicester. You say Leicester. No one knows why, but you say key. Q-U-A-Y is key. Why is that key? That's how people speak. Do you understand that? B-U-R-Y is berry and B-E-R-R-Y is berry. It's not berry. So that's the language, the way they speak. Okay. And there may be history behind it. Don't need to know that. So, and surely, surely, amatun, ama, who is ama? Ama is opposite of abd. What is abd? Abd means slave. Ama is slave girl. Okay, so likewise, that is why you find some name Abdullah, Amatullah. Opposite of that is slave of Allah, slave girl of Allah. Amatullah, Ama. Okay, Amatul, Ama, slave girl, Mu'mina, believing slave girls, a Muslimah, a believer slave girl is khayrun, is best, is better, definitely better. Here you would translate better. Why? Because there's min after that. Better than. Better, obviously, min means from, but then in this case, better than mushrika, idolater lady. Walau, even أعجبتكم, she pleases you. أعجبت mean, she ajib. You know, ajib in Arabic does not mean strange. Strange, it has the suggestion to strange. It actually means it pleases. It's a positive ajib. Not like ajib shocked. It's not surprising. Surprising in a positive way. So and that's why they say ajib, always ajib, like with a smile. But ajib means that there is something positive, not strange. In Urdu, we use ajib as strange. Although ajib could be strange if this is so fascinatingly completely different. So you say ajib, obviously it's pleasing, but also unusual. So people, so ajabatkum, even if she pleases you, she makes you happy by looks, by wealth, by whatever she has, this mushrika. Okay, and a believing slave woman is better than a polytheist woman, even though she might please you, appeal to you. ولا تنكحوا المشركين حتى يؤمنوا.
ولا تنكحوا المشركين حتى يؤمنوا.
And لا, do not. تنكحوا, marry. Now, the first one was for men to not get married to mushrika. This one is now tunkihu. That was tankihu. This is tunkihu. Change of form changes the meaning. That was lazim to you do nikah. Don't do nikah. Don't marry yourself. Mean don't get nikah done to you, to a woman who is not Muslim. Here, you do not give your ladies, your daughter, your wife, not wife, I mean, your daughter and your sister into nikah of someone. So it is marrying your daughter or your sister or your mother if she's divorced or widowed, or someone, nieces, granddaughter. So do not marry them to al-mushrikeen, to the idolater men, hatta, until yu'minu, they believe. Okay. وَلَعَبْدٌ مُؤْمِنٌ خَيْرٌ مِّن مُشْرِكٍ وَلَوْ أَعْجَبَكُمْ. So you saw there was أَعْجَبَتْكُمْ. This is أَعْجَبَكُمْ. That was for lady. This is for men. Jaba, jaba. So that ta is ta'ut ta'nith. It's like, you know, to sit, what do we call sitting? He said, jalasa, sorry, jalasa. He said. If you want to make it female, easy, jalasat. He stood, qama, he stood. You want to say for female, qamat. So you heard this word qamat? Qad qamat is-salah. What is standing? Establishing, standing. Salah. Salah is feminine. That's why qamat as-salah. For men, it will be qama. Okay? Akala, he ate. Female, you would say akalat. Okay? Kharaja, to go out, exit. For female, you would say kharajat. Dakhala, he entered. Dakhalat, she entered. Okay, this is how it is. Nama, he slept. Namat, so that ta, so a'jaba, he pleases. A'jabat, she pleases. Akrama, he honored. Akramat, she honored. So that ta is for feminine. Remember that for the past form. So walau a'jabakum. So and la, shortly, abdun, slave, mu'minun, a believing man, believing slave. Khayrun, better, is better than, min, from, means better than, mushrik, an idolater. Walau a'jabakum, even if he pleases you. Okay, same thing. Okay. أولئك يدعون إلى النار والله يدعو إلى الجنة والمغفرة بإذنه. أولئك, these people, يدعون, they call you, they invite you. إلى, towards, النار, fire. They invite you to fire, to the fire, I mean Jahannam, the hellfire. Wallahu, while Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yad'u, This wow is wow haliya. While is a better translation to say while, but that's as long as you can say and, that's okay. But this is while. While Allah invites you, calls you ilal jannah, towards Jannah, and towards ilal jannati wal maghfirah, and to the forgiveness, bi'idhnihi, with his permission, with Allah's. What it means that only with Allah's permission you could do that. Maghfirah bi'idhnihi and Jannah bi'idhni, with Allah's permission. Allah calls you, and you would get that if you really wanted to get that. So by his permission. So those people, even they invite you. Allah does, they can do it, but if you wanted to stay away from that, you need to be on Allah's side. So Allah will help you. And with Allah's permission, you'll be able to stay away from their invitation, and you'll be able to reject it. And they invite you. If Allah wanted to stop them, Allah could stop them. Allah let them do it. There's several different connotations to that, but for the time being, just leave it to translation. It's simple, easy. وَيُبَيِّنُ آيَاتِهِ لِلنَّاسِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَذَكَّرُونَ.
ويبين آياته للناس لعلهم يتذكرون.
And yubayyinu means he explains ayatihi, his signs, his signs, linnas, for people, la'allahum, so that they, yatadhakkarun, take nasiha, take the remembrance. So they remember. Okay, few points on this, and then we inshallah are done in the next couple of minutes, a few minutes. Marrying non-Muslim, Allah said, don't marry. So it's absolutely clear, you cannot marry a non-Muslim, neither men nor women. Okay, that's the consensus. That's clear prohibition in Quran and Sunnah. Okay, and obviously because it is very clear why you want to marry someone who you cannot love, and you have to love. In this relationship, there has to be love. Now, many a time you may say, oh, but where is love in my marriage? There is love. That's why you're together. That is why you still get food and everything from your wife, even if she hates you or you hate her. You get the money, you bring whatever you need to bring, even if you just, why still together? There is this love there. And that happens a lot, unfortunately. And that's because we haven't got our heart cleansed with piety. That is why we can't see that love. It's so strange. So strange. You don't see love in your wife, thinking she is the one who has dedicated her life to you, never going out to any other men. Cooking food for you. For how many days, weeks, months, years? You don't appreciate that because you're a thankless person. She taught you many things. Small stuff here and there. Some manners, some behavior, some washing your clothes or whatnot. And we look at, oh, but I'm not happy. Doesn't matter. You should appreciate even one thing. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu said, if someone teaches me one thing, one ayah, I would become his slave and ask him if he wanted to sell me, I'm happy with that. He could free me or he could sell me. I'm delighted with that. He's my master. He taught me one ayah of Quran or something. Many wives, mashallah, they have got some understanding, they teach you something. And you teach them as well. So likewise, they should have respect. But since at the moment I'm not talking to the wives because they're not sitting in the class, forget about them. If you think about yourself, what you should be doing. I would be good if she is good. This is what Allah says. And if wife is thinking the same, if you be good, I'll be good. Allah didn't say it. Allah said, you be good. And then Allah would make her good for you. Allah said, ادفع بالتي هي أحسن فإذا الذي بينك وبينه عداوة كأنه ولي حميم. You repel bad with good. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would put the love and affection that you become, even if that was your staunch enemy, you become so big lover for each other. Hamim, very hot. Hellfire, the water there is called Hamim. Allah said, you become waliyun Hamim, means you'll be so lovely friends. We don't believe that. We don't want to believe that. Even if you know it, or we don't know it. because I've got my own agenda. I do the way I want to do it. Okay, keep going with your arrogance and continue to get tortured emotionally, physically, physiologically, I don't know, whichever way. You will never get anywhere because you have not surrendered yourself to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're still slave of your own whims and desire. When someone complains against someone, 9 out of 10, this is the problem. There's hardly ever a clear oppressor in your life. Obviously, stop talking about, don't go, oh, but I'm talking about family relationship. Don't go Gaza. Don't go to Syria or, Pakistani people, hyper politically motivated. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about normal people and normal world when we are living in a decent state where there's not, and there's a lot of oppression going on there. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about family dynamics. There are few situations. That's why I said 90%, 1%. We exaggerated. Everyone feels that I'm the one being oppressed in my family. I'm the worst of the husband with regards to my wife and vice versa. Anyway, so the love has to be there. If you don't have that love, how could you live together? And if you live together, then there'll be problems. And each one would try to pull the other on their side. So you don't want that. Leave it alone. Okay. What about the people of book? That's exceptional. Allah says in the Quran, وَالْمُحْسَنَاتُ مِنَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ إِذَا آتَيْتُمُوهُنَّ أُجُورَهُنَّ مُحْسِنِينَ غَيْرَ مُسَافِحِينَ وَلَا مُتَّخِذِي أَخْدَانٍ. You are allowed to marry the ladies from people of book, from Christian and Jewish people. So men can marry those women, Allah says. Allah doesn't say about men, about the women, Muslim women marrying the non-Muslim or Christian or people of book. Men, they can't. Women cannot marry them by consensus. Men can. So they believe in one God. Why the special treatment to the people of book? Because they believe in at least one God. And there was some softness for the teaching because there's so much similarity between their religion and Islam, people of book. And then, women are not allowed to marry because they are somewhat weaker by nature. And you can say in the current time, table has turned because of the legal support by the world around. Even then, that is more external force or whatever support they have. You still have charge. You can decide what you want to. You can leave as well. They cannot force you, cannot convert you. No one can. So men still have that control relative to women. But now, should you marry people of book, Christian or Jewish people? I would say never, ever. And I know you'll be thinking about, maybe she lives with us and slowly she come to Islam. We tackle that in a second. Man shouldn't. That's my advice to you. This is the advice from Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And Ummah has taken that. And it's up to you because you guys are way clever than everyone else, so you can decide what you want to do. It is very difficult in the current situation to find a true kitabiyah because pure Christianity and pure Judaism, Jewish people wouldn't marry you anyway. They do not go out, very rarely, so you won't find anyone. If you did, that may not be a pure intention. That could be something, I know. And then they are converting you more than you are converting them because they don't marry anyone outside. So they're very strict with their religion, as Muslims are. And so difficult to find one. They may be half atheist or whatever. So you don't want to be in that situation because if they, and I have advised someone to don't go that way, but he wouldn't listen. And he married this girl from Czech Republic who was claiming to be Christian. Someone did the nikah. I wasn't involved because I said no, because I can't, you just go do whatever. So he went on his way. And then 3 years later, he asked me to come and have a bit of a discussion. We went to speak to him. Unfortunately, he said that my wife now disclosed they've got 2 children, 2 boys. One is 2 years, one is like few months, and that she actually was never Christian. She was raised as a Christian, but she doesn't believe anymore, and she just did it because she wanted to marry. And now she wants to leave because she wants to raise the kids according to how she wants to do it. And he was like completely distraught. He was completely, obviously, broken by that. And she can, what can I convince her if she says categorically? She said right in front, Imam Sahib, please don't waste your time. I've just, I've just spoken the truth. And then he said, I still tried to convince him, okay, leave her alone if she doesn't want to be with you. But he was just so much involved, which is natural, obviously. And a week later, he called me saying that my wife ran away, the kids, passports, everything. She's not nowhere to be found. She texted and said, don't even try to contact me. I'm back to my country. So 2 children gone. And he never contacted me again. So I didn't have, because he moved from this area. So I don't know where he is, numbers and everything. So quite sad story, but this is what happened. Another friend he's a doctor in respiratory medicine with us from Saudi Arabia, nice one. And I was convincing him again. First year, he wouldn't. 2, 3 years later, he mentioned the same thing. It wasn't that the lady left because she was still Christian. She said, now the children are 5 or 6. They're going to church. I said, but they were never supposed to go to church. They should go to madrasa. And, that's your choice. Yes, we discussed that initially. He wasn't very practicing, so it was okay. Now, all of a sudden, she became practicing. The 7-year-old children, they're going to church now. And he said, I can't do anything about it. And he said, can you just advise me? What can I advise you? It's not in anyone's hand. You can't just go against the mother. Like you can, I can't. That's your choice. You already decided it. And then children, your own religiosity, what would happen to that? Your children, what would they get? You think the children become Muslim and stay with you on your side? Almost impossible. Children normally go to their mom these days. It's no more a case that you would go with your father. Because children normally side with their mom. It's a difficult situation, although they belong to father Islamically, because that's where the lineage comes. But unfortunately, the feminism or whatever has caused this much of damage. It should be sensible. Whoever is the best carer should look after Islamically. Whoever is the best carer should look after the children, but they normally belong to father because that's where the gene transmits from. But obviously, the other side of the world doesn't take it. But even her, so you married your wife, she's from people of book. She's not going to go to Jannah ever. So why are you marrying someone who'll be in hellfire? They won't be companion together in Jannah. Now you may be thinking that, I don't want to be with my wife in Jannah anyway. Isn't it better than? No, because it's only because you have all those hard feeling here. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, we would take all the ghil, all the animosity, ill feeling between people, all the people in Jannah. You would not remember and you would not have any concern whatsoever in this world. Your wife would be better than even the whole if you get one. You only get if you're shaheed. So some people would get it, but not everyone. There's a myth that you would get so many holes, but few, but inshallah, you would get it. Shaheed would get a lot. The Sahih Hadith would normally say that there are 2 for each, generally, if they're in Jannah, direct. And they get, inshallah, more as well. But that depends on your CV and recommendation and all. Let's see how you work. But anyway, so the problem is your wife would be the best of your hood, better than your hoods, everyone. Every time you go and back to your wife after you went out and you did whatever, spent some time with this Sahabi and that, buddying up with that Prophet or whatever you're doing in Jannah, enjoying your time. When you come back, you say, you look even better than last time. Like she would say the same thing. Isn't that amazing to hear this word? You look amazing. 10 years into marriage, 5 years into marriage. This is what they would say. Because you continue to improve in Jannah. with your beauty to please each other. You're perfect now in Jannah at the beginning, but you continue to do so. So seeing her in hellfire, knowing. So this is why Sayyidina Umar Farooq radiallahu ta'ala, on learning that such marriages are finding alarming. It's quite common in Iraq and Syria. People are going for beautiful ladies in Iraq and Syria because they've got blue eyes and blonde hair or whatever type. They're quite beautiful ladies there. So Sahaba, when they were there, conquered it, he stopped with the executive order. No one can marry them. He just stopped. It's just going to cause corruption. Then the final point is, it may have a positive impact. Maybe we can convince her and she would become Muslim. So then why not? So there's a wisdom there, which says if there's a danger of harm and there's benefit possibility, you just go with the harm side, safe side. This is why a wise Persian man said, a wise man does not eat the antidote with certainty and poison with doubt. You know that I haven't been bitten by a snake. Let me just get the antidote. Someone man? It may be poison. It is definitely antidote. So what do? It could be antidote, it could be poison. It is definitely not antidote. It may be poison. What would you do? If you knew that, no, you don't go for the doubtful, dangerous thing. You go for safest thing. You don't go for that. So perhaps antidote doesn't make sense to you, so let me say it again in a different way. If you knew that this glass of water could be poison, could be antidote, the anti-poison that could cure me, or Hatibul Layl, this, you have got this job of finding certain woods, so you're a woodcutter, and you need it badly, and you find a very long and thin branch there, very smooth, and you actually want it like this so that you can put in the axe or make it into your leg of your chairs or whatever. But in the dark you feel that, could it be a snake standing like that? Could it be, or is it really smooth stick or the branch? And it's so dark. What should you do? Maybe just try in case. No, you would never, because that one bite is going to take you. This is what I'm saying. So if it is antidote, even if you don't do that, okay? So what the translation has to be a little bit better. Actually, I didn't translate it, someone did. What is saying that with the idea that I have got definite antidote here, and this is poison, let's just have it because I would have antidote. Would you do that? Because there's a potential that whatever. No, you don't do that. So be on the safe ground to benefit, to make someone Muslim. You lose your faith, potentially, then what? Your children lose your faith. What's the deal? Crazy, isn't it? So sensible person wouldn't do that. May Allah give us tawfiq to understand it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.